before we start today's conversation, आपको एक चीज बताना चाहूंगा कि हमारा जो previous conversation था peace को लेके,
Yes.
so a lot of people have liked, the content what we shared, and I think सबसे important चीज ये है कि people have found, whatever we shared, the questions, the answers, whatever the discussion that happened, people found it very logical. There was a lot of logic behind what we spoke about peace. So I think, yeah, good news. Let's continue, speaking logic. And I believe you have a new set of questions.
Yeah, sure. I'm always like ready with more ammunition now.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead.
Yeah, sir. So we'll just jump through the hot topic nowadays. कि और वो हॉट टॉपिक तो अभी और हॉटर हो गया है जब से धुरंधर पार्ट 1 के बाद धुरंधर पार्ट 2 आई है. So obviously Dhurandhar part 1 was just an intro of the scene, but as we finish Dhurandhar part 2 we get the complete picture. So how come मैं तो इस पूरी मूवी को एक सेट ऑफ एक ही पिक्चर देखता हूँ. It's like just 6-7 hours long. तो how come like it's so much violence? Like people used to thrash, मतलब गालियाँ देते थे संदीप को. He was another director who did Animal and all. But Aditya Dhar was one more step ahead. And still like movie already 2500 crore से ऊपर जा चुकी है अगर मैं दोनों को ऐड ऑन करूँ तो. Like how come जनता को इतना वायलेंस क्यों पसंद आ रहा है, क्यों जनता रिलेट कर रही है जी?
I think Mayank, when I saw, part 1 Dhurandhar, तो उस 3 घंटे में मुझे कहीं पे ऐसा नहीं लगा कि मैं एक मूवी देख रहा हूँ. क्योंकि काफी बार ऐसा होता है that people who are from the security background who understand के on ground how things happen, when they watch movies, we disconnect a lot of times. You watch any older spy movies, especially जो इंडिया के spy movies बने हैं, suddenly two people, two agents from opposite countries start dancing and singing songs and all that nonsense. We immediately disconnect. We can't, because it is not reality.
Correct.
ठीक है. So this movie was so close to reality that it actually looked like reality. That entire 3 hours of the part 1 Dhurandhar, it actually felt like reality. कहीं पे मुझे ऐसा नहीं लगा कि यार I should have left my common sense outside the theater. ठीक है, मतलब somebody is flying in the air और पता नहीं अब मेम भी आ रहे हैं ना किसी मूवी में, स्पाई मूवी में जेट्स पैक दे दी, जेट
yes it was a Shah Rukh Khan movie.
हाँ, whatever, so those kind of, so there was nothing unnatural जो जमीन पे नहीं होता है. So I think this was I will compare Dhurandhar part 1 and part 2 to a web series that I very much love, which I feel which is very similar to Dhurandhar, which is On Ground Kya Hota Hai, which is an Israeli web series, Fauda,
yeah. Okay,
correct. So Dhurandhar and Fauda are on that same level. In fact, I will actually say this case, certain things in Fauda are a little impractical. उसमें थोड़ा डाला गया है, थोड़ा मिर्च मसाला डाला गया है उसमें कई जगह पे, but Dhurandhar was not that. It was pure, what happens on the ground. So I think that is something that people have connected with, one, and I think somewhere people are beginning to realize कि violence है society में.
yes,
The violence is definitely there. And the way Aditya Dhar showed violence in a city, in a part of a city, which is Lyari, people have understood that हमारा जो adversary है ना, उनके society में ही violence है. As Indians, we are still not able to accept violence in our society. हमको लगता है violence is only limited to a 2611 or it is limited to a Pahalgam attack, or a Pulwama attack. We are isolating violence only to certain attacks that have happened on the society or on the armed forces or on the nation. ठीक है? uh, your voice is not
Yeah.
audible. हाँ.
So I think people think only that the violence is at the border only, and in some parts like where the real criminals are, and that are not real, that are some hypothetical things.
करेक्ट करेक्ट, क्योंकि देखो इससे पहले क्या होता था कि बिफोर धुरंधर केम आउट, anybody would talk about Pakistan being a terrorist state. I personally know a lot of people who would say that no, Pakistan mein there are few people who are terrorists, the others are all good people, and majority are good people and all that stuff. Maybe the fact is still there, the civilized part of Pakistan is still somebody who do not like terrorism and all that stuff, correct? But the part from where terrorism is coming, that society, violence is very common. So those वो जो एक subtle walls थे, the people were not able to put two and two together.
Correct.
Now all those parts of the puzzle have got joined in with this movie, because what Dhurandhar is showing from the other side is that, as I said earlier, violence is a integral part of their society, from where the terrorism is coming in.
Like it is part of their society already, but we are the one who are not believing that it is part of, like it is part of everyone's society, but we are just not the one accepting it.
Correct. और जब तक हम लोग accept नहीं करेंगे, we will not be able to mitigate that that kind of violence. Because as long as you pick up the last 10 15 20 years ka statistics, every time an attack has happened, as a society we are still the same. Nothing has changed in the society. Only thing that has happened is, for example, after 26/11, the only thing that has changed is that millions and billions of rupees have gone into raising the security status of hotels. That is all has happened. हमारा जो कॉन्शियसनेस है ना, सिक्योरिटी कॉन्शियसनेस जो है सोसाइटी का, जिसको आई कीप कॉलिंग इट द सिविलियन सिक्योरिटी कल्चर, दैट इज स्टिल एब्सेंट, दैट इज स्टिल नॉट देयर. Correct. So unless and until that shift happens, we will keep facing violent attacks.
So but what do you think after Dhurandhar, like that that learning of violence, will people like understand the real violence after Dhurandhar, or it is just like this is a slow process of learning which people will learn eventually with time?
Mayank, I think, see, we have crossed the first step.
Okay.
With Dhurandhar, the society has accepted violence, at least on screen.
Okay. On screen,
On
yeah.
screen.
Yeah,
ठीक है,
correct.
सोसाइटी में तो अभी भी एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया है, ठीक है, but at least on screen people have accepted that level of violence, which is a very good thing. And I really applaud the entire Dhurandhar team for having accomplished this very, very critical step. कि at least they have got a buy-in for violence on screen. ठीक है, तो so that has happened. Now slowly, now we go to the next step. But it's very important, Mayank, that we tell our viewers here that we are not trying to create a society which is violent. That is not the objective. We are a civilized society, and we like to stay the way we are. We don't like violence. But the point is, you should know the language of violence, like how last time we discussed.
Correct.
करेक्ट. सो वो एक लैंग्वेज आपको पता होना चाहिए, वरना तो आप विक्टिम बनते रहेंगे एक के बाद एक.
Sir, See, this movie already have gained so much popularity, and when we talk about like the factual correctness of the movie, it is like already, I would say, 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, because obviously they are saying it's a fictional story, or like it's a fiction part, like creation of fiction, but in reality it is like people can relate. 9 out of 10 facts are already there. The only fact that is missing is the part of that where what Ranveer Singh plays. And obviously, Indian government will never accept such things.
We
But
are
my
not
question,
supposed to. We are not
yes,
supposed to accept
yes,
these things.
obviously. But like even after so much factual correctness and so much good story, still some people are calling it a propaganda. Like, what can be the reason behind it?
See, the reason is very simple, Mayank. There is a part of the society which does not want the rest of the society to wake up. ठीक है, देखो तीन टाइप के
Hmm.
लोग हैं. There are three kinds of people that you'll find in the society.
Okay.
One are the people who are this side of the wall. Now this is a wall. They're one part of the people of the society who are this side of the wall. Okay. The other part of the society is on this side of the wall. The second part. Now there is a big chunk, which is the majority of the society, which is neither on this side nor on that side. They are on the wall. Okay. Now, so far, what has been happening is that this side of the wall, let's call it, right wing and left wing, because that's something that people have already given that, that name. So let us
Correct.
use that only.
Correct.
So you have the left wing, you have the right wing, okay, and then you have the center.
Mhm.
Now, the right wing has never really, pushed people or pulled people onto their side.
Correct.
Correct? Because of a stigma के भाई हम we don't force people.
Correct.
ठीक है, राइट विंगर्स का एक ये हमेशा प्रॉब्लम रहा है हमारे देश में कि वी नेवर पुल पीपल.
Hmm.
ठीक है, लेफ्ट विंगर्स आर नोन फॉर पुलिंग पीपल.
Correct.
Correct, they either pull people by force or they pull people by by finding their vulnerabilities or by paisa or whatever it is.
I think they use Chanakya's learning Sam Dam Dand Bhed, so they apply
Exactly.
all of it.
एग्जैक्टली वो जबकि वो राइट विंगर का था आइडियोलॉजी,
Yes.
यूज लेफ्ट विंगर कर रहे हैं.
Correct.
ठीक है, सो दैट इज हैपनिंग. सो दिस मेजॉरिटी चंक विच इज ऑन द वॉल. ठीक है, नाउ द चैलेंज विद दीज पीपल ऑन द वॉल इज व्हाट दे डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड इज दैट वो एक इंग्लिश में देयर इज अ सेइंग, कैट ऑन द वॉल.
Hmm.
Correct, the cat which is goes neither this side nor that side. But what the cat does not realize is the cat on the wall for too long died of starvation.
Hmm.
आपको
Correct.
वॉल पे खाना नहीं मिलता है. You have to jump on either side to eat food.
Yes.
Correct. So these people what they do is they see कि भाई खाना कहाँ पे अच्छा है. ठीक है, and they take that jump. But the challenge is once you take the jump on the left side, it is very difficult to come back on the wall and come onto the right side.
Correct.
While if you jump on the right side,
Right
it is
side.
very easy to go on the left side.
Correct. Because they don't force or like
Exactly.
hold the
Exactly.
people.
ठीक है. So what this movie has done, this movie has just, imagine this movie like a bulldozer on that wall. ठीक है, now this movie has not forced anyone to jump on the right side,
Yes.
according to me, because वो एकदम न्यूट्रली बनाया हुआ है.
Hmm.
ठीक है, they've not shown anybody as a hero, anybody as a villain. As per facts, जो villain है भाई वो villain है. You can't make a villain into a hero. Correct. So what this movie Dhurandhar 1 and 2 has done is, it is a bulldozer which is running on that wall.
Yes.
Correct. And now people are panicking and they're jumping on either side. अब imagine करो.
Yes,
imagine,
yes, yes.
yourself as a cat on the wall, or
I
lots
understood
of
now.
millions of cats on the wall. Now there is a bulldozer coming towards you. Now you have to jump on one side.
Exactly. Because it's like a big wave. Like you
Exactly.
cannot be on the wall at the end of this
You
wave.
can't be on the wall anymore. Maybe you can do some acrobatics and jump over the bulldozer and again land up on the wall. But then being on the wall is not going to serve your purpose. Forget nation's purpose or somebody else's purpose. You being a cat on the wall is not serving your purpose.
Yes,
Correct. It's like, walking into a stadium where a cricket match or a football match is happening and you don't support either of the teams.
it happens.
ठीक है, तो फिर गए क्यों वहां पे? बस ऐसी मैच देखने, ठीक है, एक बार जाओगे, दो बार जाओगे, हाउ मेनी टाइम्स विल यू गो लाइक दैट? Correct. Even as a supporter, you will enjoy when you go cheer for your team, your side.
So in this case, like for Dhurandhar, if majority of the people who can see the facts and who can like see the story, the real world story, if they have lived in the 2611 era and all, so they will know it, like what was the reality, and now they are seeing it in a movie and like how people are liking it.
Correct.
Because majority of the people, if they are liking it, there is something like their conscious is awakening. That's what I believe.
Correct.
But still there are always some exceptions, so those exceptions are those cats on which are falling on the left side, no? That's what I
So there
believe.
will be people who will, fall on the left side because their inclination mentally is towards that, and that's okay.
That's okay,
There's
yeah.
nothing wrong being a leftist.
Correct. That's
Correct. But don't be an anti-national. Be a leftist, no problem. Correct. But don't be an anti-national. Have that very clear distinction between being left and being anti-national. Correct. So
yes.
that's very important. You can, by the way, you can also be a right winger and be anti-national. वो भी possible है. So be whatever side you are, left or right, just don't be anti-national. That should be your focus.
Correct. Okay. So, sir, going ahead, I am surprised because I am into filmmaking and all. So I'm surprised by the fact that I spy thriller movie, which is situated in like the current time period, not like some older like 1,000 to 1,000 years old time period. Because till date, whichever movies have earned this much, for example of Bahubali and all, they already portray a fantasy world, and then people like the fantasy world kind of things more. But while showing something which is set up in the current world and still making hell lot of money, I'm surprised by the fact, because there is an industry like this Bollywood industry is in their business from like 50, 60, 70 years, and then an outsider comes and with his second movie itself he tells them that's not how you do the business, that's how you do the business. So what's your take on that?
See, I think I was watching Aditya Dhar's talk at a press conference. I think that was. So जहाँ पे he said he said something very interesting. He said I think his couple of scripts got stolen and a lot of things happened while he
Yes,
was trying
yes.
to make what he was making. But I think the lesson what he teaches me at least as an individual is that you just need to keep fighting. You need to keep your goal in front and you just need to keep fighting. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing, when you want to fight, whatever your goal is, don't make that goal a personal goal. ठीक है? Don't make it a personal goal. Make it a national goal. I think here with Dhurandhar 1 and 2, his main goal was to put the truth in front of people, in front of the nation, and let the nation decide what went wrong and why it went wrong. I think that
Correct.
was his objective even in Uri. When he made Uri also, it was
Yeah.
the same objective. Correct? He wanted to show what really went into that mission. Correct? So his objective was not a personal objective. His objective was a national objective. तो जब आप देश के ऑब्जेक्टिव को सामने रख के चलते हो, तो वन, यू गेट द पावर ऑफ द एंटायर नेशन, बिकॉज द एंटायर नेशन इज ऑल्सो समवेयर, कॉन्शियसली और अनकॉन्शियसली दे आर विथ यू.
Yes.
Correct? And especially after the teasers came out of Dhurandhar 1, I think the nation was like, wow, ye kya aa raha hai? What is
Correct.
coming?
Yeah.
Correct. So it was like that. So, quietly keep working on your mission, and make your mission a nation's mission. Not your personal mission. So I think that is a very, very important takeaway for me. Secondly, what I would say is that he understood what the nation is looking for. I think his research team, the fact that there's another Aditya in his research team, I think that gentleman has done a fantastic research on understanding the mood of the viewers. The general perception of people has been identified extremely well.
Correct.
And that was exactly portrayed in the movie. Correct. So he got the pulse of the people very, very correctly, which is that people are looking for facts. They are not looking for fiction anymore. Okay, they do not want agents of two opposite enemy states running around trees and singing songs and all that nonsense. वो नहीं चाहिए लोगों को. They want reality.
I remember like when I was in my school days, I watched like India's first, the popular spy movie, that was The Tiger. And in that time, I saw that the ISI agent and India, like from Pakistan, it was Katrina Kaif, like the actress from there. So I used to think like, from one side we just see like we have never ever seen popular faces who are women and from Pakistan. But then the movie is showing that even their secret agents are women. So my perception was like not accepting it. It was hard to digest even in that school days when I was a child. And that kind of story, and then they make more and more spy films like in Bollywood, and it's the same concept always. But when now we see the reality, like this is the reality. I have been to like Dubai as well, and there I have seen how many Pakistani women I see in the working culture, like in the corporate and all. Hardly any. Like I have never seen in my life. Even if we will find some women from Pakistan, they will be either from Lahore or Islamabad, and that too from posh society, and that too they will be living with their families, and you can see them in market and all. That's it. Other than that, no working woman from Pakistan you can see anywhere. So now when we see such movies, and only then we can relate. And even I think that Aditya Dhar have shown Pakistani women's more like more free, more like they have more freedom in this movie. That guy Rahman Dakat's wife like slapping, I cannot believe that would happen in real life.
नहीं, वो तो ठीक है. That was a very emotional moment, where that
Yes.
happened. So that is understandable. But at the same time, he's shown. See, if you look at women in this movie, Pakistani women in this movie, they are just two faces that come to your mind. One is Rahman Daket's wife, Soumya. I think her name is Soumya. So
Yes.
she's the one, and the next is the heroine,
Correct.
Yelena. Correct. So these are the only two faces that you remember from the Pakistani women's side. In fact, I don't even remember the face of apna Jamil Saab's wife.
Yeah. Hmm.
Correct. So that is the truth of that society. So that is why I'm saying, Mayank, this movie is a reflection of reality. There is no glorifying of anything that has happened in this movie. If you look at part one also, if just imagine if it was not an Aditya Dhar production, if it was some other production, do you really think that the hero of the movie would be playing a second character in part one? मतलब कहाँ था यार? Where was Hamza? You could hardly see him here and there. The focus was Rahman the Cat.
Correct.
Correct. He was the main guy. Hamza तो उसके पीछे कहीं चमचे की तरह था.
Correct.
But that too was depicted so beautifully.
Yes.
So I think he's brought out the reality very very beautifully, and that's why I say, in fact, now I think the what producer's cut, director's cut is coming out, the 7 hour version.
Yeah, the 7 hour. Like, I am very excited.
I'm excited too. I'm like, let's watch that 7 hour thing. Yeah,
But I hope it gets released because
I
there
think
is
it
no
will. It
confirmation.
has cleared the ratings, so I think it should be out.
Because when I watched the first part, no, I hardly felt like when it finished, it felt like 1.5 hours for me. And the people were saying it was 3 hours, 25 minutes.
Correct. Correct. See, that's why I said, when you feel that, the stress of a movie, when your mind is trying to fight the logic that is being shown to you on screen,
Um,
that is when you feel stressful. A lot
and
of times when you watch certain movies and you come out, now you feel tired.
that's
Why
why
do
it
you feel tired?
feels.
Because your mind is fighting the kind of nonsense that is being shown. आपका दिमाग जो है वो एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रहा है उस चीज को.
And in
और
such
इसमें
cases,
रिजेक्ट करने के लिए कुछ था ही नहीं.
and at that time, the time feels slow.
Yes.
Correct.
So that's the logic. बट लेकिन
So,
एक और चीज है इसमें a lot of guys they also I also had a few questions which were talking about which carry forward from our last conversation on violence. uh, so they were like, we understood that violence is important, and the capability of violence is important, but
yes,
they had a more serious question ke, you know when is it right time to be violent.
correct.
ठीक है, तो that is something that I thought I will address on this discussion of ours. So I think to all those who had that question, when is the right time to be violent? Now,
So,
guys, I just
if
sorry,
sir, if I
sorry,
want
sorry.
to, sorry to interrupt, but if I want to like reframe that same thing, because see, now the movie is there and people have like seen as a reality. But what people are not seeing is that they might have to face that reality in their life at some point. Correct. It's not always an army officer or a like trained professional. It is the common citizens. It is us. So it's the same thing you were discussing about, that if we go legally in India, like how much the law allows, like permits us. Is it the self-defense, or are we allowed to have arms or no? Or do we really have to think of arms? Because majority of Indian families are just scared of arms. Like if some family is having, they will just avoid those families even for friendship and all. So yeah,
See, there are couple of things here, Mayank. The first one is, as you rightly asked, people try to avoid people who have arms. Okay,
correct.
I avoid people who have arms. I don't know about others, but I avoid people, especially when I know that the guy is armed and is not mentally trained to handle one. करेक्ट. इंडिया में इट्स जितना मैंने देखा है, जितने लोगों के साथ मैंने इंटरेक्ट किया जिनके पास आर्म्स हैं, हु हैव वैलिड फायर आर्म्स लाइसेंस एंड हु आल्सो कैरी अ फायर आर्म. फायर आर्म इज अ पिस्टल,
Correct.
I have seen that these guys don't have the mental makeup to handle a firearm. करेक्ट. एक मेंटल फिटनेस होता है फॉर somebody to be able to handle a firearm. It's not a joke. Okay,
Correct.
firearm is, even if you consider a revolver, it has 6 rounds, which means you can take lives of 6 people. Correct? If misused or if wrongly used. Correct? So वो एक चीज I have seen that is missing in our Indian system, कि जहाँ पे license तो is offered pretty easily to people to carry a firearm, to buy a firearm, but their training is not given importance.
I think they are not even tested on a mental level.
No, forget mental level. I know people who are physically not fit who carry a firearm. And a lot of times, people ask me that what does physical fitness got to do with firearm? वो निकाल के गोली तो मारना है. ठीक है. My point is, if you are physically not fit, I will come snatch your weapon from you and I will shoot you. You can't even defend your own selves. You can't defend your firearm.
Yeah, one is that thing, and other thing that I believe is that firearm is like a level 3 of self-defense. So at level 1, you should have your like mental and physical abilities strong.
Absolutely.
To defend yourself.
Absolutely. So first is using your mind, body, and spirit as tools to defend yourself. Then comes situational weapons. Last time we spoke about.
Yes, correct.
Restaurant mein, the tables, the butter knives, the jugs, and everything else.
I have one here.
Yes, you have one here. ठीक है. So those are the situational weapons, and then you have the legal weapons, which is your firearms.
Correct.
So unless and until, if you ask me, unless and until somebody is trained in mind, body, and spirit, which is your unarmed combat, then he is trained to use situational weapons. He should not be given a license to buy a firearm. This is how you should be able to graduate to a firearm.
Yes.
ठीक है. It is not a toy. वो खिलौना नहीं है यार. आप मार्केट में गए, किसी ने आपने लाइसेंस ले लिया कहीं से, जुगाड़ लगा के, you use influence, you get a license, and you go to the market and pick up a weapon. It's not a toy. Correct? So there has to be some seriousness related to weapon handling.
So sir, other than firearm, like even in self-defense, if someone know how to use level 2 weapons, like you say that we can use environmentally, like pen and fork, spoon. So legally, are we allowed to use it in self-defense to any extent?
See, for me to explain or give you an accurate answer, I will have to first share with you what are the 3 levels or 3 layers.
Okay,
of security, of personal security, that we talk about. So the first layer is 6 feet. Okay, me.
Okay.
If I am the center, 6 feet around me is my first layer of security.
Correct.
The second layer is 6 feet to 15 feet, 14-15 feet. Okay. The third layer is 15 feet to, let's say, 24-25 feet. Okay, these are the 3 layers. Okay.
Yes.
Now, the self-defense aspect will only work or will only be termed legal if your adversary or if your attacker or whoever the person who wants to harm you, they have crossed the last layer, which is the 6 feet layer.
The 6 feet layer.
Correct? Now, let's say you are standing 6 feet away from me. How long will you take to reach me?
Hardly few seconds.
2 seconds, 3 seconds.
Yes.
Correct. Now, in that 3 seconds, will I be able to pull out my phone and unlock it and call the police?
Not at
I
all.
can't. Okay, I forget, calling the police. I can't even take out the phone in 3 seconds.
Correct.
Correct, unless and until I practice it every day. Like a gun draw and that
Like
kind of stuff.
these American cowboys do.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I will not be able to do that. That is when self-defense actually kicks in.
Okay.
ठीक है. But my point is, जब वो पहला तीसरा लेयर क्रॉस कर रहा था आपका 25 फीट का, ठीक है, फिर देन ही क्रॉस दी 15 फीट का रेडियस सर्कल, ठीक है, देन ही केम टू 6 फीट ना. Correct. What were you doing when he was crossing these two? Were you sleeping?
Obviously,
Correct. That
people are
is my
sleeping.
point. That is why I talk about being aware of your situation. Keep scanning your surroundings. Keep looking at who is that person who is trying to close his distance
Correct.
with you. पहले वो दूर था, अब you saw here there, अब वो थोड़ा और पास आ गया है, you are looking here and there, again he's come closer. Correct. You got to be alert.
So, sir, like even if the person has passed the like level 3 or like in our 6 feet area, then those situational weapons are not that much useful, or sometimes our brain doesn't have that much time to see what situational weapon do we have and what can we use. We can only prepare when the person is like 25 feet away or like or more far.
No, very valid question, man. So what I do is, I play this game with myself. Okay, it's called what if.
Mhm.
Okay, so when I am in a public space, lots of people around me, 50, 100, 200, whatever stuff, I will look at somebody. Okay, and I will paint him the target. I will say, okay, that guy is going to attack me.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'll ask myself the question, what if that guy is going to attack me?
Hmm.
Okay, the most important thing what people don't realize is that your mind, okay, is one of the most I would say powerful security tools that you can use for yourself. If you fill your mind with fear and anxiety, it will not be able to work.
Correct.
But if you give your mind the right questions, it will get you the answers. So the question you should be asking yourself is, what if that guy is going to attack me? What am I going to do? Initially, if you are asking this question to your mind for the first time, आपका दिमाग ना freeze हो जाएगा. ठीक है, आप you'll feel very scared कि अरे यार he is going to attack me and all that stuff. But then when you keep conversing with your brain on these lines,
Mhm.
it will start opening up and it will start throwing answers to you. It will automatically start looking for things around you that you can use as situational weapons.
Like if I put myself in that situation, I think my brain will look for something that is sharp or pointy or something that is heavy, if we can use it.
Exactly. So see, your mind is already giving you those answers.
Correct.
Correct. And the best part is the mind, when you keep having these drills with yourself, the mind will ask your eyes to start looking for what it wants. And then what happens? Something very interesting happens then. This complete exercise, it becomes subconscious. Correct. So today, a lot of times when I enter few places, my mind has already started playing the what if game. I'm not even aware of that.
And I think it is not that tough that people think, because I have seen some people are like subconsciously too much concerned about their looks. Like I'm just thinking it the other way.
Mhm.
So they will just think, okay, is that person gonna judge me? Am I better than, like, am I looking better than this one? Is there someone who's looking like little bit lower on than me? So that subconscious thinking is working. If you give it some other purpose, it will like serve you on that purpose. If you give
Absolutely.
it some correct purpose, it will like think that way also.
Absolutely, absolutely. So use your mind, your subconscious mind, as as your second in command.
Second in command, yes.
Correct. So you give the command to that person, that mind, saying that hey, right now I need this from you. Start looking for it. So the first
Correct.
thing you do, I think this is something that I mentioned in the book as well, that the moment you enter a space, public space, the first thing you should do is start looking for the exits.
Hmm.
Because anything happens in that space, public space, there will be chaos. Okay? And the only way to escape chaos is to find an exit.
Correct.
Correct. So this is what you need to do. What if? But the challenge is people are scared to ask that question, what if? Because they find denial more easy.
Yeah, I hope the people get this point, sir. But see, the main thing that we were at is if I am able to use the situational weapons, and if I think that the other person is going to attack me, can I defend myself up to a point that I make him unattackable? Like I hurt that person to the extent that he cannot hurt me.
See,
Is
that you
art?
can do,
Mhm.
Mayank, only when you are trained to do that.
Okay.
ठीक है. Now every single training that one takes, whether it's martial arts training or your specific martial art training like karate or judo or whatever, taekwondo and all these things, each of these martial arts or each of these tactics, they teach you some certain things that you want to accomplish.
Okay.
When you learn martial arts as a sport
Uh-huh.
in school, in college, in academies, correct, there the focus, that there your focus is not to harm somebody. There your focus is to only hit somebody to get certain points so that you win that tournament.
Correct.
Correct. Compare that to an unarmed combat. In unarmed combat, your sole objective is to neutralize the capability of your aggressor.
Hmm.
ठीक है, वहां पे आपका ऑब्जेक्टिव ये नहीं है अच्छा उसको ऐसे पकड़ के ऐसे उठा के पटकना है, उसका पीठ नीचे टच कराना है. नो, दैट्स नॉट योर ऑब्जेक्टिव. करेक्ट. अनआर्म्ड कॉम्बैट, योर ऑब्जेक्टिव इज सर्वाइवल. Somebody attacks you on the street, how do you survive? So when you learn the right things, that will help you to survive.
In such situations, sir, is running is the like running away. If we somehow avoid and run away, looks, is it a better option, or we just try to neutralize our target if we are trained?
See, even if you are trained, my favorite option any day is to run away.
Correct.
ठीक है. I'll tell you why. It's a very intelligent, because here my ego is not important. My survival is important.
Yes.
Correct? The moment you make the distinction between the two, you will understand that running away is a good thing to do. But the challenge is you should be able to run faster than that guy.
You know, if I put it practically, na, sir, in even in Delhi NCR, like in urban cities, such kind of situations people come through on every other day. That is, if you are going on road and you get a rage with someone, like there is a guy in Fortuner and a big car, and that egoistic guy who thinks he's a gangster, and the other guy will just try to scare you and show his superiority. And many people just, even if someone is going on like by walk, they will not try to run, they will not try to avoid, they will just sometimes try to avoid by being either silent or just by fighting through words only. वो केवल बातों से लड़ाई करेंगे. और I think people should also avoid, like, choose running or just going away from there in such situations, because it is these kind of people who carry arms many times or something to fulfill their ego,
Especially Delhi NCR.
especially Delhi answer. Yeah.
Correct.
So
So running. See, I will not call it a running away. I would say that exiting that area of conflict is a very
correct.
wise thing to do. There is nothing wrong in that.
Correct. So one should be smart enough, no? Only then they can think long term in that moment. That if I go and fight for my ego, then even if they like kill the other guy, I'm not saying killing, try to hurt, then you will be just your time will go for the next coming few months. You will go to police station and all this. You will expend a lot of money in those things, no?
Correct.
So that thing is there. Sir, see, apart from the legality of these things, so I think now I can understand, until unless we have arms and if we defend ourselves and we try to avoid, I think all those things are legal. Now, sir, one of my last questions would be like from Dhurandhar, what a common man should learn? Like what you would suggest that they should have a perspective of, like, what kind of perspective they should have after watching Dhurandhar.
See, I think okay. This is something I was thinking about a couple of days back. I was just trying to replay the part two in my head, and I was just wondering कि यार क्या क्या था part 2 में, part 1 में क्या था? What was the movie all about? So I will ask you a counter question here. So if you look at this movie Dhurandhar, most of these characters that you see on the screen are all special characters.
Correct.
Okay? When I say special characters, I'm talking about, they are people who are somebody. Correct? आपके NSA हैं, ठीक है? Then you have a minister जो उनके साथ प्लेन वो हाईजैक वाले प्लेन पे गए थे, ठीक है?
Correct.
Then you have Dhurandhar himself, who is somebody, he's a spy,
Correct.
special character.
Correct.
Then you have the Dakat, who's a special character. Then you have the Pappu, who's a special character. Okay? And then you have Chaudhry Aslam, who's a special character.
He's a SPL. He's a big thing.
Okay? All of these are very, very special characters. Okay? As a common man, I might not relate with any of these people. ठीक है, मैं तो कॉमन मैन हूँ यार, मैं ना ही एजेंट हूँ, ना ही चौधरी असलम के टाइप का हूँ, ना मैं कोई डकेट टाइप का, गुंडा टाइप का कोई हूँ, ठीक है? तो नॉर एम आई NSA टाइप, तो आई एम अ कॉमन मैन. So which do you think, which character in this movie do you think a common man should relate themselves to, according to you?
Okay, I think the only common man who's like living with the common people most of the time was the minister's daughter, I believe.
Exactly.
Because she was with her college friends and all.
Exactly, she is just daughter of a minister. Okay, there is no special status to her.
Correct.
So she was the only common, civilian. Let's call it civilian, gender neutral.
Correct.
Okay, so she was the only civilian, common civilian in this entire part 1 and part 2. ठीक है? Now that is a character that we should focus on as common men. As civilians, we should focus on that character. What did that character live through this entire part 1 and part 2? ठीक है? Part 1 में what was the role she was playing? She didn't know that he's a spy. Correct? But she just loved this guy and she was just supporting him.
Yes.
Correct? She was spying on her own father for
him.
this guy.
Yes.
Correct? So she was spying on her own people for the person she loved. ठीक है?
Correct.
Now that is what is part 1. ठीक है? Part 1 अच्छा सा end हो गया दोनों के, मतलब there was nothing great that happened with her. She was married to the guy she loved and it was the end. Come part 2. In part 2, she realizes that this guy is a spy. She realizes that he is not what she thought he was.
Yes.
Correct? So she was like, let's say she was some winged, right, left, whatever.
Okay.
ठीक है? Then she realized that this guy is of a different wing. ये उसके wing का नहीं है. ठीक है? But then she loved this guy so much and she understood why he is that other wing.
Yes. Yes. वहाँ वो उसको समझाता है. Correct.
हाँ, क्या बोल के समझाता है? He said, मैं पाकिस्तानी आवाम के खिलाफ नहीं हूँ.
Yes.
I am not against your country. I am against people from your country who are creating nuisance in my country.
Yes. And even in their country as well. That's what.
In their country as well. Correct? So he drew that very clear mark between the two. ठीक है? So while he and Yelena were on the same side of the wall, Yelena could not see the wall before, but now because she saw the wall behind him कि ये wall कूद के इस तरफ आया है, he told her that I belong to that side of the wall, but I am here because I need to clear the mess here.
Yes.
ठीक है? And I'm not against your country. This point was a changing point in the mentality of this common civilian. She bought into that narrative of this guy that he doesn't want to harm her country. In spite of that, she supported him.
Yes.
Okay, why? Because she was able to identify as a civilian what is right, what is not right.
Yeah.
करेक्ट? ये बहुत सटल मैसेजिंग है मूवी का. ये थोड़ा ध्यान से समझो इस चीज को. ठीक है? इट्स अ वेरी वैल्यूएबल लेसन फॉर अ सिविलियन. ठीक है? तो शी सपोर्टेड हिम. बट देन व्हाट हैपेंस? जब चौधरी असलम को शक होता है इसके ऊपर एंड ही सेंड्स दैट अदर गाय बिहाइंड टू गो मीट यलीना, व्हाट हैपेंस देन? The civilian's weakness kicks in.
Yeah.
Civilian's weakness is their family, what they hold close to them. The civilian is willing to sacrifice anybody to save their own loved one's life.
Yes.
And here, who was the loved one between the son and the husband? Very clear distinction made. It was the son.
Son. Correct.
Correct. Please, सोचो थोड़े इन चीजों के बारे में. They give such amazing, insights into, human behavior and what is happening today, as on today in India. ठीक है? Now she gave her husband away, the spy away for her son.
Yes.
Correct? What happened in the first scene of Dhurandhar part 1? Something very similar happened. When the NSA was telling the minister, please give us some more time. We will get the passengers, safe and sound, and we do not have to release the terrorists.
Yes.
He said that. What did the minister say? The relatives of the passengers are creating a havoc outside PM house. Get these,
Same,
get these
same
together.
common man's weakness, na?
Absolutely. Common man is the weakness of every nation. I'm not talking about India, Pakistan here. Every nation.
Yes.
As long as the common man is selfish with their own things, we will keep losing people. We will keep losing, soldiers and civilians both.
I think because they don't trust the capabilities of their like of those who are protecting them.
Mayank, it is not. It no, it is not really, doubting the capabilities of people. It is not really that. I'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
The point is that, let's say when this thing was actually, this actually happened.
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
relatives
Correct.
of the IC 814 guys, they came on, they did a agitation and all that.
Mhm.
Now imagine if all the families of the soldiers who died capturing these three terrorists, we lost a lot of people na, capturing these three terrorists. Correct? A lot of
Yes.
soldiers died in those missions. Imagine if the families of those soldiers came and agitated next to these people saying that these three terrorists should not be released.
Yes.
What do you think will happen? यार उनकी मांग भी जायज है ना.
Correct.
Correct, मांग इनकी भी जायज है, उनकी भी जायज है. Now you see, their people, their family who have got martyred catching these people, they have got martyred catching these people. Understand the weightage of that. They
They
have
have bigger
walked
weightage.
into an enemy territory, ठीक है, knowing that they are risking their lives to catch terrorists. Now when you compare their lives with people who have been taken hostage, whose lives are more important? I will not
Correct.
answer that, but the answer is very clear. Correct. So this is something we need to understand. The biggest weakness of India today is our civil population. We are unprepared. We can't think straight. कहीं पे कुछ हो जाता है तो हम लोग धरना लेके बैठ जाते हैं without really understanding whom are we really, working for.
I think most of the common man are slaves of their weakness itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Correct.
Correct.
So, and this realization for me is very, it's very क्या बोलूं मैं, it's very emotional for me, because before I became a security operative, before I became an instructor and close protection, counter terrorism, and that kind of mentality, before I got there, I was a common civilian.
Yes.
Correct. I was a common civilian. So when I moved my thought process from a common civilian to somebody who is out there trying to, make sure that, these civilians are safe, and the terrorists, criminals, whoever these guys are, they are kept away and they are mitigated properly. Correct. I now understand how my thought process as a civilian was jeopardizing my mission or the mission of the security forces. And this realization for me happened when I was in Israel, when I was training there. And
That's
trust me,
why
it was a very emotional experience for me. I actually broke down. My colleague was asking me, Chucky, are you okay? What happened? I said, nahi, I just realized, what a, dumbass I have been as a civilian. Thinking so selfishly and not really understanding the national objectives of a security setup and a security apparatus.
Correct.
Okay? So when you realize that, it's a very emotional, it's a very emotional, experience.
That
But
how
once you
big of,
experience that,
yes,
once you experience the kind of power that unleashes within you is amazing. Today I'm still a civilian. I'm not in the armed forces. Correct? I'm still a civilian, but I'm an ex-civilian now. I'm not a civilian who is going to hold my nation back, or who is going to jeopardize my nation's national security and their national security objectives. Tomorrow, let's say I'm flying somewhere, my plane gets hijacked. I know exactly what to do. I will not tell you what I will do, but I know what to do.
yes,
I know what is good for my nation. I know what to do for my nation. I mean, just imagine if even 300-400 million people out of 1.5 billion, even 300-400 million people can attain this level of maturity, national security or security culture maturity. Yeah, it's impossible for any force to touch India. मजाल किसी के जो कोई हाथ लगा दे भारत को, पॉसिबल ही नहीं
yes.
है. So this is something we need to understand, and always remember, Yelena is the character that we have to learn from. It is
I
not
think
Dhurandhar. It is not
yes,
somebody else.
we are closest to Yelena in the real
Absolutely.
life.
And her weaknesses
Hmm.
is something that we have to learn from.
Yes. आई होप द मैसेज गेट्स थ्रू, लाइक लोग समझें इस बात को गहराई से कि ऑब्वियसली डायरेक्टर ने अगर वो डेप्थ उस कैरेक्टर में डाली है, सो देयर इज अ रीजन फॉर अस, सो दैट वी अंडरस्टैंड दैट.
नहीं, आई मीन सरप्राइजिंग, वो मूवी बनाने वालों की तरफ से ये नैरेटिव अभी तक आया नहीं. But maybe they want people to realize by themselves.
Correct.
But let's see.
Sure. Okay, sir. I think that was it for today, and we can call it. I hope that was a good discussion, and people do learn
Definitely.
from it. So many things, and we will continue this over further topics. जो भी अभी नई चीज़ें आने वाली हैं, हम कहाँ से सीख सकते हैं, बिकॉज आफ्टर धुरंधर आई थिंक मोर एंड मोर थिंग्स विल कम, लाइक इन द मीडिया, इन द न्यूज़.
अभी तो धुरंधर पार्ट 3 भी बाकी है.
Yeah, I think there are speculation over that. Let's see.
In fact, I found a very interesting link between Uri and Dhurandhar.
Yeah, that Jaskirat was
Yes.
that
pilot
thing is there.
वो
Yeah,
chopper
that
pilot
lady
का
pilot.
husband. Correct.
Yeah, his late husband.
Yes. So we don't know who that and this is. Maybe it's the same.
And there is one more place where they have linked it, but yeah, let's see. I hope they create a universe, later on. But that universe is so much real.
नहीं, I see, यार, Dhurandhar is no more a movie. Honestly, you ask me, it's not a movie. It's not a movie. It's basically somebody showing you what has happened in the past.
Correct.
So good. So nice chatting up with you, ma'am. And
Sure.
as usual, amazing questions.
Sure. Thank you.
Yep. We'll catch up soon again.
Thank you so much, sir.
Chaliye, see you.